Hey everybody, thank you so much for stopping by my channel. My name is Goretti and I am the counselor at Butterfly Project. I know it's been a couple weeks since I did a video. I didn't even realize that it had been that long. I was just super busy with a bunch of different things in my life, and my daughter had graduated from high school, so that was a very busy time with lots of celebrations. She looked absolutely beautiful. It was such an amazing experience. That's my firstborn and first one to graduate, and it was an incredible experience. Brought up lots of emotions and different things like that. So yeah, and there were a bunch of other things in the family as well with my other children, and yeah, lots of stuff going on. And then in the northern hemisphere here, we have been really hit hard with weather over the winter and also spring, and even our summer. We've had like lots of rain and stuff like that. So it's been sunny. There's been lots of really great days, and I also just wanted to enjoy that, which I have. And there were also a bunch of different things that I needed to take care of. So yeah, I kind of had to do that. And that's actually what I wanted to talk to you all about today. So sorry about the background, but it's kind of windy over here. So what I wanted to talk about was procrastination and also overwhelm. This is something that I've, experienced myself in life, and I know a lot of my clients do. I know a lot of people do. We all have busy lives, and sometimes it can be really hard. We just want to rest maybe after a long day of work, or, taking care of the kids or whatever, and we don't really want to deal with different things. And I've had lots of changes in my life recently, so I've had lots going on. So I experienced this myself, and here's what really has helped me as well as my clients is to, first of all, sit down, make a list. Make a list of all the things that you need to do. Get it out of your head, because if you get it out of your head, you're going to feel so much better, I promise. And then that way it's not bothering you at night, and it's not constantly sitting there. When it's in your mind and not on paper, we're constantly trying to remember. Our ego keeps saying, hey, listen, you really need to remember this. You can't forget about this. This is super important. So that's, the first step is putting things down on paper. The other thing could be prioritizing things if you want. If not, you can also do things based on how much time it would take, how much effort it would take. Choose that depending on the day, how much time you have, how you're feeling. Did you wake up with lots of energy or not? So there's that. And yeah, so you can make this list, kind of categorize it. And the other thing is probably the most important thing. It's kind of like that story, the tortoise and the hare, right? The hare tried to go really fast and didn't end up winning the race. The tortoise went slow and steady and won the race. That story is, huge for all of us to learn some lessons in life. And the reason for that story is quite important. And so with that, if you can manage, and I think we all can manage about 30 minutes a day. If you can manage to set aside 30 minutes a day, and actually you need to make an appointment with yourself, because we all have good intentions, and I do as well. And lots of times I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I have great intention that I'm going to do this. I'm waking up tomorrow. This is what I'm going to do, or I'm going to do it in the evening or in the afternoon. And that day comes and something happens, or maybe I'm not feeling up to it and I find something else to do. That's the procrastination. We find something else to do and we never get it done. So what's really helped me, I had things I had to take care of for months and I just couldn't come around to doing it. And what I found was, if we just set that appointment time with ourselves, right? Most of us have smartphones. We use our smartphone for everything. I put it in my phone, in my calendar, and I set an appointment time with me, just like I do with my clients. And, maybe it's half an hour, maybe it's an hour. I try to give myself more time than just the half an hour, but I set the appointment time to be very small, even if it's just 10 minutes, if that's all you can manage. Because here's what I found. If you set the appointment with yourself, that kind of holds you accountable. Also, if you can find somebody else, like a counselor, a friend, somebody that you can say, here's what I'm going to do today or tomorrow or on this day, and that kind of holds you accountable. You know, if you say, hey, check in with me, see if I've done it or not. So that'll hold you accountable. But also the appointment time will also, you know, guide you to be accountable to yourself. Because if you don't do it, you're like, you know, I missed that appointment with myself, or I skipped that out on that appointment. And nobody likes to do that. We don't feel good when we do that, right? Like you wouldn't do that, you know, to your counselor, let's say, or your doctor or dentist or, you know, lawyer. So we set an appointment time with ourselves. And when we do that, it holds us a bit more accountable. So that's the first thing. And the other thing is, once you actually get into it, so you set the appointment time and you start doing it. Let's say it's, you know, organizing or whatever. So you start doing it, and I actually recently just did this. I kept putting off having to deal with organizing my garage. It was super overwhelming. It was so much. There was so much stuff because I moved in the middle of winter, and it was just a lot. And who the heck wants to move boxes, right? Who wants to do that when, you know, the weather is nice, or you just want to watch Netflix or whatever it is, you know, you want to play with your kids, you want to, you know, talk to a friend, you want to go out and have a coffee. Like, nobody really likes doing these mundane things. However, this was something that was draining me a lot. And just like the things that we have in our mind that we have to do can be big drains. And so I set an appointment time with myself, and I kind of pushed the appointment a bit later in the day that day. But I was like, no, that appointment time came, and I'm like, no, I really need to honor this appointment with myself, because I respect myself enough for that, just like I would respect anybody else. I respect my clients' time, so I'm going to therefore respect my time as well. So I started doing it. Well, guess what? I had only set the appointment for half an hour, but I made sure I didn't have really anything else going on in the day, just in case, you know, I want to keep doing a bit more. And that's typically what happens is once we finally get to doing it. Okay, so when you set this appointment time, usually what happens is once we start doing it, we feel like doing it more. Sorry about that. I'm out in public, right? So there's people. And so when we set that appointment time with ourselves and we want to do more, what ends up happening is, you know, I got into the groove and I started doing it. And at first it was a little chaotic because I had to move a bunch of stuff, and it was lots of, you know, chaos. And, you know, I felt like throwing in the towel, and I'm like, nope, I have this appointment time with myself. I need to keep going. And so I started doing it, and the more I got into it, I realized, wow, like, I'm actually getting some stuff done. I can kind of see how this is going to turn out. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think I'm going to keep going. I kept going. I finished the entire garage in 2.5 hours. Mind you, I had trouble sleeping that night and couldn't really move much the next day, but that's okay. I did it on Saturday, and so I took Sunday as my break day. That brings me to my next point. After you've set this appointment time, I want you to also set up a time that you are going, a time and something that you're going to reward yourself with. Set up a reward system. I know this might not be the greatest thing for us to do, especially, you know, we don't want to always be rewarding ourselves, just like we talk about that with, you know, our kids and stuff. We don't want to always, you know, be like, well, if you do this, you get this reward. I mean, that's not how life works generally, but when you're trying to deal with something that maybe doesn't feel good to do, or brings up, some emotions. There's a lot of other things that I have to deal with too. And I know a lot of my clients have to deal with things that they just don't want to face or they don't want to do. And it's negative and it doesn't feel good. Or maybe it takes too much effort. I get it. In those cases, that's what I'm talking about. That's where you're going to set up a reward system, okay? So you're going to set up, what is your reward? When are you going to have your reward? Typically, you want to do it right after or not long after you actually complete this appointment time of whatever it is that you're going to do. So set up a reward for yourself. I took my kids out to eat, right? I'm like, I'm not making dinner after this. So I took my children out to eat, and, we had a really, great meal out, and that was nice just to get out. So I would suggest, rewarding yourself with something like that. Maybe going out for an ice cream, or maybe it's taking a hot bath, or I don't know, whatever it is for you. Everybody's different, right? So whatever works for you. But set up a reward system, and I promise, once you start doing this, you're like, wow, that was really good. That was really good. And the sense of accomplishment that you're going to have after doing it is going to make you feel really good. And it's going to take that weight and that heaviness off of you, that overwhelm that you've been carrying. It's going to lessen. Now, I completed a very large task in one time because that's just my personality. That's kind of how I do things, but everybody is different. Like I said, if you can only do 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 or 30, or if you can push it to 45 or an hour, great. But you don't have to. Whatever it is, just that small amount of time, like the tortoise and the hare story, okay? That small amount of time, all it takes is, 10 or 15 minutes or half an hour every day or every second day or a few times a week, whatever it is that you can manage and whatever it is that you have to do and are dealing with, depending, right? Doing those small increments. Think about that. If it is a 5-hour project and you do the small increments, you're eventually going to complete the project. But if you keep saying, it's 5 hours, I don't have 5 hours, I can't finish this, I can't accomplish this, I'm too overwhelmed, I don't want to do it, I can't do it. If we keep doing that, then guess what? You're not going to finish it. You're not going to accomplish it. Okay? So, small increments. Just keep thinking. Tortoise and the hare. Right? Who won? Who won that race? Right? Tortoise won the race. Slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. That's the whole point of that saying. Slow and steady wins the race. So, if there is something that you are procrastinating, if there is something that you are feeling overwhelmed by, I want you to use these techniques. Okay? I want you to set an appointment time with yourself. First, make your list of what you need to do to dump this stuff out of your mind so that your ego isn't constantly reminding you and maybe waking you up at night saying, you have to deal with this. You need to remember this. You can't forget about this. This is important. Okay, fine. Dump it by writing it down. So you're going to write it down, make a list. Then you can prioritize if you want. You don't have to, okay? Then you're going to make an appointment time with yourself and you're going to choose something off that list to work on. You can mix it up. You can have the, several appointments for the same thing that week. Maybe you can have this one for this week, that for next week, whatever it is. You set it up whatever way it works best for you. And then you are going to stick to that appointment time because self-love is self-respect, and you would not skip out on an appointment you have with somebody else, maybe a friend or a professional. So you're not going to skip out on this appointment with yourself either, okay? You are deserving of that. So you're going to be accountable to yourself, hold yourself accountable, tell somebody else if you have to, if you need that extra step to be held accountable, that's fine. And once you do that, you are going to stick to that appointment time, and you're going to also choose what reward are you going to have for sticking to the appointment time, for accomplishing that appointment time goal. Doesn't mean the whole project, just that appointment time. You're going to give yourself a reward, and you're going to do that. You're going to follow through. I promise you, you will start to feel so much better. You'll feel less overwhelmed. You'll feel a sense of accomplishment. You will feel, you know, like you don't want to procrastinate anymore. It'll give you this boost of energy. People don't realize when we have things that we keep procrastinating, or things that, we're feeling overwhelmed by, that's like having this little drain plug at the back of your head, and literally it is draining all the energy out of you. It's not fun, right? And the stuff still sits there to be done. So you get nothing done or accomplished. You're drained of energy. You're feeling this overwhelm, anxiety, whatever it is. And why? Right? We all know once we get to something, we're like, oh, I felt so much better once I accomplished that. But the hard part is just getting to doing it. It's kind of like exercise and everything else, right? So, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. I know it was super helpful for me. I am so happy I accomplished that. I also got something else very huge that I had to do in my life accomplished this week as well. I rewarded myself both times. It felt so good to do it. I'm feeling so much lighter. I feel way less overwhelmed, and I feel such a huge sense of accomplishment, and it feels so good and energizing. And although physically I had to kind of rest and I'm a little, drained that way, definitely it feels so good to have these things just like out of my mind and off my head. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. As always, please like this video, share this video with anybody that you think could use it, that could be helped by it. I truly appreciate all the likes and shares and comments, and as well, if you could please, subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here. So this is what I wanted to do today. I know I have tons more videos that I'm going to work on now that I've kind of got, festivities and stuff out of the way. I will be working on all my holistic videos. There are many things that I have been doing kind of behind the scenes already on this, so I've been doing my part of the work. I just haven't recorded any of it. I've been doing lots of, educating and experimenting and different things like that. So I am working on it, and I will, hopefully pump out some videos soon on all of these different things. Again, thank you so much, everybody. I wish you all peace, love, and light. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.